Welcome to this tutorial on animation. Today we're going to be learning a few of the basics about animation, such as setting keyframes, editing the option, and making a small animation of a bouncy ball. So first of all, I'm going to put in a polygonal sphere and press 5 to soft shade that. Now across the bottom what you can see are what we call frames, and this is the timeline that all the frames are in. If we want to move an object, we press S to set a keyframe. If you've done that correctly, you'll see that you'll have a red line in that frame. 24 frames is 1 second worth of footage. So if I click on frame 24 and press S, you'll then see that I've got another red line there, so I'll have 1 second's worth of footage. So if I were to press W and to move this object and press S again, then I should have 2 separate keyframes. And if I play, you'll see that my object moves. If I wanted to have more frames than just 24, then I need to put how many frames I want for this animation. Now for this bouncy ball exercise I'm going to use 72 frames, but you'll notice we can still only see 24, and that's because I have this slider where I can scroll through all the frames. What I want to do with this though is grab this box at the end and drag it out so I can see all the frames in my animation at once, and I'm going to delete these 2 frames by right clicking and delete. So, I'm going to create a bouncy ball. We'll have to put the ball where I want it at its starting point. Press S to set my keyframe. Click on one of the frames in the middle, so I'm going to go 36. Move the ball where I want it to go to. Press S again. And then if I wanted it to go back to the original point that it was at, what I can do also is copy frames. So if I click on the frame I want, right click, copy, click on the end frame and right click and paste. Now if I play this animation, I should have a nice smooth animation of a bouncing ball. Down here, right at the end, I have something called animation preferences. If I click on that, it gives me all these settings. For your animations to run smoothly, you really want it to say real time 24 FPS. As a standard, it will be set to play every frame, but if it's set like that, your animation will look like this. And this is basically just playing the frames as quickly as Maya can possibly render them. So ideally we want this set to real time 24 frames per second, or you can double the speed or half the speed if you want. And generally we'd have this as a continuous animation unless you only want it to play once or to oscillate. That means to go forwards through the frames and then backwards through the frames. So now I want to add in something for this ball to bounce on, so I'm going to create a trampoline. Okay, I'm going to turn the grid off just so I can just see my plane. So I've added a polygonal plane there. In the channel box, polyplane 1, I'm going to add some subdivisions, 10 by 10, and then I'm going to right click and go to vertex mode. See, what we can do with animation is we don't have to animate the whole object, we can animate individual vertices as well as individual faces and edges. Now I'm going to introduce you to something called the soft select tool, because if I just animated this one frame I'd get something really sharp and it wouldn't really look like a trampoline. But if I double click on the cursor tool and I check soft select, you'll see that I get this area around the vertex selected. It gives me a more of a organic feel. I'm probably going to put my fall off radius quite high, so up to about 10. Okay, and then I'm simply going to do the same as I did with the ball, and I'm going to animate this as well. So in frame 1 I want it to be there, I'll press S. In frame 36 I want it to be quite low, move it and press S, and then in frame 72 I probably want the same as the first frame, so I can right click, copy, and right click and paste. So this won't be quite right yet because you'll see it starts moving straight away, so I'll have to add in a couple more keyframes to make this look a little bit more realistic. I do this by finding the point at which the ball hits the trampoline and press and set another keyframe in there, and then find out the point in which the ball leaves the trampoline, put another little keyframe in, and then I might want it to bounce up a little bit afterwards as well. So now if I play, still not quite right. Probably just need another keyframe in there. And that's looking a little bit better. That needs to be moved. That should do it now. And keep playing with that until you get a realistic looking effect. So your task for today is to create a simple bouncing ball on a trampoline using the keyframes and the animation preferences.